This video shows how your sexual energy is the key to true prosperity, not just financial, but also the attraction that brings opportunity, respect, and prosperity to every area of your life. While 97% of men daily squander the power that could make them reign, a small, silent elite has learned to harness this energy and use it to build empires. The difference between the common man and the rich man lies not in the money he inherits, but in the energy he retains. Carl Jung knew that every human being carries a volcano within. The question is whether you let that volcano erupt in a moment of pleasure, or whether you channel that power to forge your inner greatness. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to transform your sexual energy into magnetic prosperity. You'll discover the secret that separates ordinary men from natural-born leaders, and how this ancient practice can radically transform your financial and social destiny. If you're tired of being part of the crowd and believe you have untapped potential, then explore other horizons. What I'm about to share with you isn't a theory. It's a spiritual technology that powerful men have been using for centuries. Prepare to awaken the king within. There is an energetic frequency that only 3% of human beings can attain. It cannot be bought, inherited, or faked. It is a magnetic quality that springs from within, silent but impossible to ignore. The moment you walk into a room, people sense your presence even before you speak. Opportunities open up. Money circulates more easily. Respect arises naturally. Jung called this transformed libidinal energy, sexual potency, now which transforms into creative power and prosperity. But few people understand that this transformation doesn't happen by chance. It requires iron discipline and a secret that the ancients guarded like gold. The average person lives in a constant state of energy depletion. Every time they indulge in a simple pleasure, they literally deplete their energy reserves. It's like a car with an empty tank. No matter how much gas you put in, the tank is always empty just when you need to accelerate the most. Look at the truly wealthy men around you. I'm not just talking about money, but about absolute prosperity, radiant health, good relationships, successful projects, and a presence that naturally inspires respect. Their energy is special, a density, an inner magnetism that attracts everything around them. Jung discovered that this difference wasn't due to intelligence, luck, or connections. It resulted from the ability to transform sexual energy into creative power. The ancient alchemists called this the transmutation of lead into gold. But they weren't referring to metals. They were codifying the process of transforming pure desire into refined magnetism. When you learn to control and direct your sexual energy, something extraordinary happens in your nervous system. Your mind will sharpen, your intuition will refine, and your ability to make informed decisions will increase exponentially. You will begin to recognize opportunities that were previously hidden from you. But this comes at a price. This path requires you to forego instant gratification in favor of lasting power. It's the difference between consuming and creating, between controlling your impulses and controlling your energy. The truth few dare to accept is this: your sexual energy is your most valuable currency. You can spend it on fleeting moments of pleasure, or invest it in building an inner empire that will manifest as outer wealth. The decision is always yours, but the consequences are irreversible. Semen retention isn't just an exercise, it's alchemy. By preserving the essence of your life, you literally transform sexual energy into neurological fuel. Your brain begins to function at a different, higher and more creative frequency. Jung observed that men who practiced this discipline developed what he called the transcendent function, the ability to integrate opposites and create solutions where others see only problems. It is precisely this ability that distinguishes visionary entrepreneurs from ordinary workers. During the first 7 days of detention, you will experience an inner agitation. This is the redirection of your sexual energy. It's like building a dam on a river. At first, there's turbulence. Then a steady, controlled force develops. Your nervous system learns a new functional pattern. Between the 1st and 14th day, something fascinating happens. Your voice becomes deeper and more assertive. Your gaze gains intensity. People react differently to your presence. Not only do you conserve energy, but you also increase your personal attraction. After 21 days, Your mind reaches a state Jung calls heightened creativity. Ideas emerge naturally. Solutions to old problems appear out of nowhere. Your ability to concentrate increases. At this point, many men report their first financial successes. But here's a secret few know. It's not just about not ejaculating, but about consciously focusing your energy on your goals. When you feel your sexual desire increasing, focus fully on your projects instead of unleashing or repressing it. Think of your sexual energy as steam. In most men, this steam is constantly escaping through the pleasure valve. But by turning it off and connecting it to a turbine tailored to your goals, you generate pure electricity, power that manifests as prosperity. Modern science is beginning to confirm what the ancients already knew. Studies show that men who practice moderation have higher testosterone levels, better cognitive function, and a greater ability to take calculated risks. These are precisely the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. But there is a spiritual dimension that transcends science. Jung spoke of nominal energy, a sacred force that manifests when one aligns one's sexuality with higher goals. It's this energy that makes some people naturally attractive and successful. A man who masters his sexuality isn't repressed. He's strategic. He understands that every drop of his being holds infinite creative potential. Wasting it on fleeting pleasures is like burning money to keep warm for a few seconds. There is a certain energetic frequency that attracts wealth. This is not a metaphor. It is a measurable reality that one feels in the presence of truly wealthy people. They radiate a different vibration, an energetic density that generates opportunities around them. Jung identified this frequency as a direct result of the transmutation of sexual energy. By recharging your life force, you not only conserve it, but refine it. It's like the difference between coal and diamond, the same substance, but with completely different pressure. Most men live in low frequencies of scarcity and need. You radiate an energy of desire, need, and aspiration that repels excess. Abundance attracts abundance, not scarcity. By mastering your sexual energy, you automatically achieve inner fulfillment. Think of the most successful men among you. Their presence radiates a calm authority. They have nothing to prove to anyone. Their movements are not marked by desperate urgency. They radiate a serene confidence, born of the certainty of having access to an inexhaustible source of inner power. This is no accident. It is the direct result of years of work to transform sexual energy into creative power. Whenever they could waste this energy on momentary pleasures, they invested it in developing their magnetic presence. The abundance frequency has certain qualities that can be consciously developed. First, it is an energy that flows from within, not from without. You don't seek to drain the energy of others. You radiate from your own inner source. Second, it is a patient but tireless energy, like a river that builds mountains, not through force, but through constant perseverance. Successful people are not in a hurry because they know they have access to an inexhaustible source of energy. Third, it is an energy that combines total concentration and serene detachment. They pursue their goals with all their might, without blindly focusing on results. This paradoxical combination is only possible if one has an inner source of satisfaction, independent of external circumstances. Jung observed that people who reach this frequency developed what he called a higher reality function. You've begun operating at a level of consciousness that naturally attracts success and prosperity. But here's the deeper part. By cultivating this frequency, by storing and transforming sexual energy, you not only transform your own life, but you also raise the frequency of those around you. Their presence becomes a catalyst for others to awaken their potential. This is why great leaders and visionaries always exercise exceptional control over their sexual energy. They understand that this is the difference between influencing the world and being influenced by it, between creating reality and being created by it. Abundance is not something you fake before you achieve it. It's something that's systematically built by consciously transforming your sexual energy into personal attraction. Once this frequency is reached, wealth ceases to be a goal to pursue, but rather a natural consequence of your development. A man who masters his sexual energy possesses undeniable attraction. It's not something you can fake or imitate. It's an energetic quality that shines through everywhere, a presence that speaks even before your words. Jung called it archaic authority, a primordial force that awakens something profound in those around you. By practicing constant retention, your nervous system undergoes a fundamental transformation. Your voice naturally becomes deeper and more authoritative. Your gaze takes on a penetrating intensity that captures the attention of those you speak to. Your movements become more deliberate and precise. Every gesture has weight, but its magnetic power goes far beyond appearances. It's a shift in your energetic frequency that influences your interaction with reality. Opportunities present themselves by chance. Influential people fall under your spell for no apparent reason. Previously impossible business projects become feasible. This happens because you have developed what Jung called nominal presence, a sacred quality that awakens the king archetype in those around you. They instinctively recognize spiritual authority, even if they cannot explain why. The average person wastes their energy in every way, with frequent ejaculations, but also with behaviors that deplete their vitality. They complain, justify themselves, seek recognition, and waste their time on distractions. It's like a leaky pipe. No matter how much pressure is generated, it always escapes eventually. A confined person, on the other hand, becomes a closed high-pressure system. All the energy generated is stored and consciously directed. This creates an energy density that is literally tangible for those around them. Neuroscientific studies show that men who participate in retention programs develop greater gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and leadership. Their brains are literally evolving. But there's a dimension that transcends science. By consistently preserving your life essence, you begin to accumulate what the ancient Taoists called Jung, a concentrated life energy that manifests as a magnetic glow. This energy attracts not only people, but also favorable circumstances. It is as if the universe conspires to support those who have demonstrated mastery of their primal powers. You attract opportunities, resources, and valuable contacts. This magnetic power is also manifested in your ability to quietly influence. You no longer need to convince or persuade with sophisticated arguments. Your mere presence confers authority. When you speak, people not only hear your words, but also feel the energy that animates them. Jung observed that this type of magnetism awakens what he calls archetypal transference. They project onto the hidden individual the qualities of the father, the king, the sage, primitive archetypes endowed with immense psychological power. But herein lies the most profound aspect. This magnetism is not manipulation, but an authentic expression of an inner power developed through conscious discipline. They do not seek to impress anyone. You are simply the most sophisticated version of yourself. The magnetic man doesn't chase. He attracts, he doesn't coerce. He inspires, he doesn't demand. He provides. This complete reversal of energetic polarity creates true and lasting prosperity. It engenders a state of creativity that few men experience, a genius zone where ideas flow freely and solutions emerge spontaneously. Jung identified this state as the direct result of transforming sexual energy into creative power. It's no coincidence that great geniuses throughout history, from Tesla to Leonardo da Vinci, practiced strategic abstinence during their most productive periods. By preserving your life essence, you literally transform sexual energy into neurological energy. Studies show that dopamine, serotonin, and other neurotransmitters involved in sexual desire are also responsible for creativity and innovation. By not wasting them on sexual release, you conserve them for creative explosions. Strategic celibacy isn't repression, but a conscious reorientation. It's the difference between a river flowing into a swamp and one channeled to produce hydroelectric power. The energy is the same, but the result is radically different. During the first 30 days of detox, the brain begins to form new neural connections. Regions once reserved for processing sexual stimuli are now used for problem-solving and strategic thinking. This is a true reorganization of mental architecture. Jung called this creative sublimation, the process by which primitive energy is transformed into a higher expression. But he went beyond theory. He observed that men who mastered this method developed what he called heightened intuition, the ability to know things without knowing their origin. This heightened intuition manifests itself in practical and profitable ways. One begins to perceive what investments to make, who to trust, and what opportunities to seize. This isn't cheap mysticism. It's a higher form of information processing that emerges when your energy isn't constantly depleted. The explosive creativity of strategic celibacy has predictable phases. The first week you'll feel restless. Your sexual energy is redirected, and your nervous system adapts. During the second week, overall mental clarity sets in. Problems that seemed insoluble reveal obvious solutions. Between the third and fourth weeks, what Jung called a creative explosion occurs. Ideas flow like an avalanche. Projects that had been stagnating gain momentum. Your ability to imagine future possibilities multiplies exponentially. After the first month, you'll reach what the ancient alchemists called the golden state, a state of sustained creativity where you consistently reach your peak. This is the state cultivated by great entrepreneurs and visionaries to build empires. But there's a deeper aspect. Strategic celibacy develops what Jung called active imagination, the ability to consciously communicate with the creative subconscious. One learns to access information and perspectives that transcend normal conscious perception. This ability gives you a considerable competitive advantage in the business world. While others rely on public information, you have access to a source of inner intelligence that few know how to tap. Those who practice strategic abstinence don't give up pleasure. They choose a higher pleasure, the pleasure of creating something from nothing, of solving impossible problems, of bringing their visions to life. Jung observed that this practice creates a magnetic and creative personality, a type of person who naturally attracts resources, people, and opportunities because it taps into a source of inner power that most people lack. Within each person resides an archetype that Jung identified as the king, not in the political sense, but as a primordial psychological force that represents spiritual authority, natural leadership, and the ability to create order from chaos. The preservation and transformation of sexual energy are crucial in this process. To awaken this inner royalty, the archetypal king rules neither through brute force nor manipulation. He commands respect through his cultured presence, his ability to make sound decisions even under pressure, and his capacity to see opportunities where others see only problems. These qualities develop naturally through mastering his sexual energy. Jung observed that men who have awakened their inner king have a radically different relationship with power. They do not seek power over others, but rather cultivate power over themselves. This investment creates a magnetic authority that attracts enthusiastic followers, lucrative opportunities, and abundant resources. The process of awakening the king through seed storage goes through predictable phases. First comes the warrior phase. You develop iron discipline and the ability to resist impulses. This is the foundation of all true power, mastery of your own primal forces. Then comes the magician phase. Your intuition sharpens, your ability to recognize patterns increases, and you develop what Jung calls practical wisdom. You begin to make decisions that others find risky, but which you intuitively know are right. Eventually, the king awakens, a synthesis of strength and wisdom, manifesting as a natural leader. You no longer need to demonstrate your authority, for it emanates naturally from your presence. People instinctively trust your judgment and seek your guidance. The inner king possesses special qualities that you can consciously cultivate. First, he acts from inner abundance, not lack. He gives value because he has it, not because he needs it in return. This shift in energetic polarity attracts true prosperity. Second, the inner king has a long-term vision. While others are driven by spontaneous impulses, he systematically builds his inner and outer kingdom. Every decision is evaluated not only in terms of its immediate benefit, but also in terms of its impact on his larger mission. Third, the inner king commands by example, not by words. His personal discipline, integrity, and ability to transform visions into reality inspire others to willingly follow him. Jung recognized that those who have awakened their inner king develop what is called the reality function, the ability to materialize their visions in the physical world. They don't just dream, they act. They don't just plan, they manifest. However, therein lies the deepest secret. The inner king can only emerge when you master the most fundamental level, your own sexuality. Sexual energy is the most primal and powerful force within you. Mastering this power demonstrates to your subconscious that you are ready to access greater power. This is why ancient cultures have always associated spiritual leadership with sexual control. It wasn't about moralism, but about spiritual technology. They understood that the ability to lead others begins with the ability to lead oneself at the most fundamental level. Those who awaken their inner king through sperm preservation do not become arrogant or authoritarian. On the contrary, they develop true humility, that of one who knows their power and therefore uses it responsibly. This is the paradox of true power. The more power one possesses, the less need to flaunt it. The awakened king does not need to shout to be heard or threaten to gain respect. There's no need to compete for recognition. Your mere presence confers authority, forged in the fire of basic self-discipline. There is a kind of prosperity that needs neither display nor demonstration. It's an abundance that silently seeps into every aspect of life. Not just money, but also radiant health, good relationships, easy-to-achieve projects, and a deep connection to a higher purpose. Jung called this nominal wealth. A wealth that arises naturally when one aligns one's sexual energy with higher purposes. This is not a desperate quest, but a natural consequence of the person you have become through the discipline of retention. A truly wealthy person does not need to demonstrate his wealth through boasting. His wealth is revealed in the calmness of his presence, the serenity of his gestures, and the wisdom of his words. You radiate self-confidence, the result of the certainty of accessing an inexhaustible inner source of creative power. This silent prosperity has specific characteristics that distinguish it from superficial wealth. First, it is sustainable because it is independent of external factors. It is based on your ability to continually create value through your refined energy and boundless creativity. Second, it is magnetic. Quiet prosperity attracts more prosperity through a principle Jung calls synchronicity. Meaningful coincidences occur when you operate at higher frequencies. Opportunities appear as if by magic. The right people appear at the right time. Resources materialize when needed. Third, it is productive. Silent prosperity not only accumulates wealth but also creates value for others. Its presence improves the quality of life of those around it. Its projects benefit entire communities. Its influence leaves the world better than it found it. Silent prosperity arises when one stops wasting sexual energy on momentary pleasures and invests it in the systematic development of one's own magnetic presence. Whenever one resists the immediate impulse one acts, deposit into your energy account. Jung observed that people who reached this level of wealth developed what he called intuitive intelligence, the ability to make informed decisions, even with limited information. This ability is infinitely more valuable than technical knowledge, as it allows one to master uncertainties with confidence. But silent prosperity goes beyond material results. It's a quality of life that enriches you internally, regardless of external circumstances. You don't have to constantly worry about money, because you know your capacity to create value is unlimited. This inner richness manifests itself in practice. You negotiate from a position of strength because you are not desperate. You take calculated risks because you trust your adaptability. You invest in long-term relationships because you think in decades, not quarters. The prosperous and discreet person understands that true wealth lies in time, energy, and freedom, not just in the numbers in a bank account. They build systems that generate passive income so they can invest their time in truly rewarding activities. Jung recognized that this type of person develops spiritual authority, an influence that goes far beyond economic power. You become a catalyst that enables others to awaken their potential. Your mere presence inspires peak performance. Quiet prosperity is the result of years spent channeling sexual energy into creative power. This doesn't happen overnight, but develops through consistent discipline and a long-term vision. Those who achieve this level of prosperity no longer need to struggle to succeed. Success follows them. They no longer need to convince others of their worth. Their value shines through in everything they touch. They no longer have to prove anything to anyone. Their work speaks for itself. This is true freedom, acting from an inner prosperity that manifests itself in a silent, lasting and meaningful outer prosperity. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to the channel now. Leave a comment below. I choose quiet prosperity when you are ready to transform your sexual energy into magnetism that attracts true prosperity. Continue reading and discover our other videos. They will help you harness the inner forces that generate outer prosperity and awaken the king within.